Good morning, my magnificent ones. Sue Paulson here, your magnificence mentor. Welcome back to Tea with Sue. The topic today is kindness. It was triggered by lunch I had the other day with a dear friend who made the comment that he wondered if the world wasn't getting a little too self-absorbed and that people weren't as kind as they used to be. It was an interesting question. And I thought about what has been going on in my life. I seem to be surrounded by people who are doling out kindness as if it was just a big bucket of candy. and it's very sweet. It's really very sweet. So I thought it was an interesting observation on his part. Well, he followed it up with a comment and he said, well, maybe I'm just not hanging around the right people. And I thought, that may be, that could be. So I've been pondering this particular topic for a bit, particularly in light of the fact that we're coming into the season that traditionally is giving of gifts and giving of service and food and all those kinds of things. So the food bank probably gets the bulk of their donations over the Christmas season, and the Christmas Bureau here collects toys for little ones and young people who don't have enough and so on. And so there's this huge onslaught of giving. Well, of course, giving is something that can happen all year round. And so I'm not too sure why we focus or concentrate on it right in November, December, but we do. And maybe partly we concentrate on it because it reminds us, if we haven't been paying attention, how important it is to give, how important to perform acts of kindness, whether they're random acts or whether they're deliberate acts. It doesn't really matter. The end result is the same. One of the challenges I think of giving is those times that we have expectations of, well, I gave that person that, and I expect that they'll be grateful. And sometimes they're not. Sometimes they didn't want that help or they have real trouble receiving. And so it was hard for them. And maybe they showed maybe they just laughed it off or didn't give it the level of importance that perhaps you put on it in giving to them. So sometimes we get disappointed by the acts of kindness that we do perform because we had an expectation that it would be useful, it would be helpful, and then it seems as if it's kind of thrown back at us. So that, of course, anytime that happens, if our gift is rejected, if our kindness is rejected in some way, then it kind of stops us sometimes from doing another act of kindness to someone else. Many years ago, when I was married and had a young son and doing some temp work to earn some extra Christmas money, I remember heading for the bus late in the afternoon, and the snow was falling, and it was getting towards not exactly blizzard proportions, but it was hard to see across the street. And I noticed a woman standing there holding a sign. And of course, it's pretty typical in our area that if somebody's standing there holding a sign, they're looking for some help in some way, shape, or form. Well, I wasn't close enough to read the sign, but as I got across the street, I kind of skirted to the right to just see what she had on her sign. And this was a woman who was really hoping for some help for her kids at Christmas. Well, I just got paid and I had some money in my pocket, and I thought, I'd really like to help her out. But it was so interesting that the second thought in my mind was, oh, but what if she rejects me? What if she turns away from my help, or is upset that I've approached her or whatever? And it was a very odd feeling that I had. And finally, I gave my head a little shake and said, oh, come on, Sue, just go over and give her what you feel you can. And I handed her the money, and she was very grateful. She was very shy, and she thanked me. And I walked away and carried on my merry way. I think I was probably Christmas shopping or something like that. But it occurred to me afterwards, I thought, why was I so shy that I wouldn't have stopped and talked to her a little bit? Because I'm sure the cash, which is what she needed, was really helpful. But maybe she also needed a kind word. Maybe she needed for me to go and get her a coffee and bring it back or something like that. But I was too timid to really move forward in a way that could have served her even better. I did what I could, and I felt good about helping her. But I really questioned. I thought, what is it that plants in us that makes us hesitate to have an authentic connection with another human being, total stranger or not? And so it really is an interesting perspective. I also remember when I was going through cancer, when I needed help from other people. Well, it didn't serve me that well that I was mostly fiercely independent, that I was the one who helped. I didn't need other people's help. And in lots of cases, I would just say, no, I'm fine. Well, cancer has a way of hitting you square right between the eyes. And you realize, whoa, I need help here. I am really struggling. I'm kind of desperate, actually. Well, of course, people were coming from all sides to support and help in whichever way that I needed and was useful and so on. And I confess that I was a grudging receiver. I didn't know how to receive their help because it was kind of foreign to me, that I had never asked for help before. And so to have this kind of onslaught, I don't think I was very gracious about it. So sorry to all of those of you who know me. And I wasn't a good receiver. It was a lesson that I had to learn. I needed to learn how to be grateful and have a grateful heart, and feel that I was worthy of that kind of help, because that was part of it. I didn't really feel I deserved the kind of help that people were offering me. So it was hard when they just poured it out, and I'm going, whoa, I don't know what to do with this. So it put me in a kind of an awkward spot. As I got used to receiving, and as I learned how to do it better, then it felt better, absolutely. And of course, then people wanted to give even more. And so funny how that kind of snowballs in the way that works. Certainly as adults, the way our children become kind and learn to give is by watching us as role models. When we're willing to put ourselves out there with no thought of anything in return, not even a thank you necessarily, but we do it because it's important and it serves in some way. Our kids watch that. I mean, children live what they learn. So they learn that from us. And I've watched my son as an adult be so generous and giving and kind to those in his circle, and of course to his parents as well. And I know that we played a role in that, because that was part of what was important to us. That's what one of the things we grew up with. So my parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles were very good at helping out in the community and giving. And so it was modeled generation to generation to generation. So take a look around. And if you're finding that some of the younger crowd are a little self-absorbed, then maybe it's time to help them move out of that, to understand that they're not the only one, that other people have difficulties too, and in some cases have far more difficulties than they'll ever have. But they don't know. You can't badmouth them for what they don't know. So maybe it's time to say, oh, okay, if I want them to demonstrate kindness, I need to be that kindness and show them how to pay it forward, because I certainly don't expect payback, but pay it forward. Help the next person because I've helped you. And it doesn't take them long. They catch on. And I've seen lots of young people who have taught those of us who are older a whole lot more about giving and kindness than maybe I ever knew. So it works both ways. So do I think that there's a lack of kindness out there? No, I don't. I think the world is waking up more to the importance of how we treat each other and how we move forward, and that we need each other regardless of politics and borders and whatever. We need each other and we need to support one another. Sometimes the bridge is a little long to get from where we are to where someone else is, because we don't understand where they're coming from and what their needs are. But that's where communication comes in. That's where talking and finding out and asking questions and being a good listener helps us to really discover how we might serve in the best way possible. Sometimes it's just an ear. They just need to be able to talk about whatever frustration they're having in the moment, get it off their chest, and then they're good to go. Well, that's easy for me to do. I have no problem in doing that. And so it's that willingness and then noticing if somebody else needs a little helping hand here and there. So this week, I really encourage you to focus on kindness. Focus on how you might be that magnificent person who is so great at being kind and showing kindness, because it spreads like ripples and ripples and ripples and ripples. And I don't think we can have too much kindness in the world, really. I mean, it's part of love, and we certainly can't have enough love in the world. The more we get, the better it gets, as far as I'm concerned. So have an enjoyable weekend. We'll look forward to tuning in next week. In the meantime, if you're enjoying Tea with Sue, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. You can also download my app. It's a free app, The Magnificence Mentor, where all the other Tea with Sue videos are on there. So if you've missed a few, then you can catch up. Have a great one. Go be your magnificent self.